World of possibilities. I'm Chris Conti.
Chris, thank you, and that will do it for us today. I'm Chris Stewart. Denver 7 News at 5 starts right now.
There's, I think, a 20-minute delay.
Miss the train? Good luck catching the next one.
15 minutes works, 30 minutes doesn't.
RTD struggles to staff the A-line and is forced to cancel trips.
It's an overall staffing issue that everyone is experiencing right now.
Colorado considers a ground-up approach to creating affordable housing.
So he's not going to solve everything, but it's going to be a step in the right direction.
President Biden speaks with U.S. troops in Poland and doesn't back down on his criticism of Putin.
Devastation that is occurring at the hands of a man who, I quite frankly, think is a war criminal.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Jason Grenauer. First at 5, the city of Denver will be paying out $14 million in damages to 12 protesters who were injured by police in the 2020 George Floyd protests. A jury found multiple instances of First and Fourth Amendment rights being violated over the course of a 3-week trial. We are awaiting a statement from the city, and we'll bring you that and more as this story develops. Also, it's a problem that doesn't seem to be going away.
More RTD A-line trips to and from the airport are being canceled due to staffing shortages. This week alone, at least 14% of trips were dropped, and that forced some people to find another way to work or to catch their flights. Well, Denver 7's Patrick Perez is live along the A-line in Denver's 5 Points neighborhood.
Patrick, RTD now says, at least for now, their hands are tied.
Yeah, you know, Jason, you hear of these cancellations and you think, what is going on here? What is happening with RTD? Well, the issue is a lot deeper than that, and it involves a company that they use to hire security for these A-line trains.
RTD's A-line is a convenient way to get between Denver and the airport, but lately that convenience has been derailed.
You want to be able to use the train, but when they don't go on time, it doesn't really help anything.
The A-line has been plagued with delays and worse, cancellations. Friday alone, RTD canceled at least 14 trips because each ride lacked a federally required second crew member.
If they are not able to come to work or miss a shift and we're not able to fill that second crew member position, we have to drop the trip.
Tina Jaquez with RTD says a company called Allied Universal provides those additional crew members. They must be armed and trained in commuter rail procedures in order to work the A-line.
If they're down staff, and if they're down staff that is trained to be on a commuter rail line, then that's where we have the shortage.
As of Thursday, Allied Universal was down about 30% of the staff it normally provides RTD. And because of the strict requirements to work the A-line, RTD can't pull staff from just any line.
I would say it's a challenge for all of us because we want to provide the level of service that we have scheduled.
While RTD works to find some other way around this staffing problem, Jaquez recommends signing up for the agency's alerts so you know as soon as possible if there's a delay or cancellation. But some riders just can't take that chance.
I am kind of a last-minute person, so I do rely on the trains being on time, but I've had to call an Uber just because of situations like that.
So while this situation does sound a bit dire, it is important to remember that these staffing shortages have affected a small number of these A-line trips. Like RTD says, your best bet is to, kind of like you do when you're flying out, to check with the airline. You're going to check with RTD to see how the status is for its A-line trains. They do plan to run at 30-minute intervals if necessary to help with some of this staffing. And
Well, we all certainly understand those frustrations. Patrick, thank you for that. Now, exactly 1 week ago, RTD reached an agreement with union workers to immediately boost operator pay to $24 an hour. And that rate will hit $26 by the year 2024. RTD and the union believe the raises will help retain staff and help keep services on track. So RTD is hiring, and they're encouraging anyone who needs a job to apply. RTD is offering a $4,000 hiring bonus for several frontline positions, including operators and mechanics.
RTD is also dealing with safety issues around Union Station. Yesterday, RTD officially announced changes coming to the terminal. They include new turnstile gates, security cameras, and better lighting. The Red Cross is now helping more than 30 people who were displaced after an apartment fire early this morning in Boulder. It happened at the Magwood Apartments near the intersection of 28th Street and Highway 119. Boulder Fire Rescue says 24 apartment units were destroyed.
Devastating fire, kind of brought me back to the forest fires in Boulder earlier this year. It's definitely a welcoming community. We're going to do our best to help anyone we know in this building get through this, but from what I can tell, the building's pretty much destroyed and those people are going to have to move.
Now, everyone was able to evacuate safely. The cause of that fire has not been determined.
The president is in Poland right now, getting a firsthand look at the growing refugee crisis of people who have fled Ukraine. During a briefing, he expressed disappointment that he could not safely cross the border into Ukraine, where the fighting against Russia continues. President Biden also met with nearly 10,000 U.S. soldiers, including personnel from the 82nd Airborne Division.
Finest fighting force in the history of the world. And that's not hyperbole, because I have to say it again. And so thank you for what you do. Thank you for all you do.
The White House says the president's visit was intended to highlight the war's mounting refugee crisis. The UN estimates more than 3.6 million people have fled Ukraine since the start of the invasion.
A Colorado nonprofit is hoping to raise $36,000 to donate to families in Ukraine. WeCycle hopes to send a full shipping container full of diapers to Ukraine. That's approximately 270,000 of them. If you would like to help, visit wecycle.org/support Ukraine.
Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra is in Denver tonight to talk about the state's COVID response and ways to strengthen our mental health system. His first stop was the Auraria campus, where he held a roundtable with Governor Polis. The main focus of that conversation was vaccine equity and ensuring rural communities get care.
Principally what we heard today was how we get to those parts of Colorado that often are missed, and that Governor and his team and everybody here is doing a pretty good job of reaching them. And so we want to learn so we know what we can continue to do to partner with states like Colorado to make sure all Americans, whether Colorado or outside of Colorado, are healthy.
Now this afternoon, Becerra was at the Mathematics and Science Leadership Academy off South Tejon to talk about mental health. And you can hear more of that conversation tonight on Denver 7 News at 6.
First Lady Dr. Jill Biden will touch down in Denver in about an hour now. She's attending events with the Democratic National Committee, the Latin American Education Foundation, and the White House Initiative Latino Economic Summit in Denver this weekend. The First Lady is due to land around 6:15. We will broadcast her arrival on our website and Denver 7 Plus app. Well, even with construction just about everywhere you look, it is still difficult to afford a home in the Denver metro.
And Colorado lawmakers are trying to speed up the construction process with a bill to support modular homes. Denver 7 politics reporter Megan Lopez explains what those are and how much more affordable they can be.
Inside the Simple Homes manufacturing facility in Globeville, it's loud. So loud you can barely hear yourself speak.
It's not your typical modular or manufactured home.
All this noise, the sound of progress.
We opened this factory about 2 years ago. We build prefabricated building components.
In just 2 years within the walls of this facility, workers have constructed 350 homes, using computer models to design down to the last support beam.
This is a project we're super excited about. This is actually up in Winter Park.
The data is then sent to an automated saw that cuts the wood, then a printer where the wood has assembly instructions stamped onto it, then to the workers who nail the walls together and then ship them out to the construction site.
Each one of these houses will get framed up, so go from foundation to dried in, weather tight in 3 to 4 days.
Jeff Hoffenbeck is the co-founder of Simple Homes. He says this process saves time, money, and materials.
The other piece is that we just have such a challenge in the construction industry with skilled labor and skilled trades.
But this process doesn't require a lot of workers. And at a time housing in Colorado is expensive and in short supply, efficiency matters.
We don't try and think of ourselves as a disruptor. We try and think of ourselves as a company that's trying to use innovation.
The demand for affordable housing in Colorado?
We've got a real issue with affordable housing.
Almost as loud as that factory floor, which brings us here to these two lawmakers, one Republican, one Democrat, and an idea, a bill to offer $40 million in grants for more modular housing.
These can be built in Colorado, here in Colorado, by Coloradans, and making sure that we're incentivizing to have that more affordable option get put out into the community.
The money will be spread out over 3 years. It's not going to single-handedly solve the housing crunch, but it can help.
And has the potential of putting Colorado on the map of being, one of the most innovative places to solve this problem.
As for Simple Homes,
we're building a 45-unit, 4-story condo building at 16th and Lafayette.
The manufacturing facility is loud as the company and others around the state try to keep up with all the demand. Megan Lopez, Denver 7.
Getting pets the protein they need without relying on meat.
Could there be a better way to give our pets the nutrition they need without all the safety downsides?
The Colorado-based pet food company that already has a big name backer.
And just serendipitously, she found us.
A nice quiet evening here in Denver as we go through the rest of tonight, but things are really heating up for the weekend. I'll have your forecast coming up.
And a Colorado lawmaker is fighting to make renting a car easier for drivers with physical disabilities.
ADA has been law for 30 years, and I'm still having to fight for access.